Shoot your arrows! Cooper Kupp plucks it out of the air and gives the Rams the lead. Robert Woods, touchdown! LA! Goff goes crashing into the end zone. Aaron Donald almost beat the football there. Corey Littleton, have yourself a day. Picked off. Marcus Peters coming off the edge. And Ryan will be wrapped up by Clay Matthews. Everett in stride! Wow!
Franklin Myers gets his hand down there.
Weddle got a hand on it. Did he pick it? He did!
Racing down the sideline is Akins to lead. Gurley for MVP! Touchdown LA!
Picked off by John Johnson.
Well, Dante Fowler, who is able to get to Breeze. Greg Zuerlein sends the Rams to the Super Bowl! LA will play for the Lombardi!
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. It's episode 209. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me, as always, is Alexis Kraft. It's another draft season podcast, and in this one, we have another trifecta. It's Virginia Tech defensive lineman Ricky Walker, followed by Memphis linebacker Curtis Akins, and Boise State linebacker Jabril Frazier. We hope you guys enjoy, and as always, just a reminder, if you like what you hear, be sure to review and be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. So hope you guys enjoy, and here is Ricky Walker. All right, joining us on the podcast, we have Virginia Tech defensive lineman Ricky Walker. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And just to start this off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
How I got to playing football?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I started playing football since I was about 6 years old. From then on, I fell in love with it. It's a physical game, that's why I chose to play defense. And then from then on, I was pretty good at it. And, my dad played football and my uncles, so it kind of ran the family and I was kind of always bigger than everybody else. So that also made me kind of good at it. But, I just started playing when I was 6 and, I just fell in love with it shortly after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And growing up, did you have a favorite football player you looked up to?
Well, my parents are from Pittsburgh, so, I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And, growing up, I liked Jerome Bettis and Troy Polamalu. So, those two guys was pretty much was people that, those two was my role models when it came to football.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were definitely great players to look up to and watch for sure. And then when it came time for you to play in college, you ended up choosing Virginia Tech. What was the main factor for you in choosing them?
I was, coming out of high school, I was, a 4-star recruit, had over 20 offers. But it ended up being between Virginia Tech and Penn State. Penn State, they had those sanctions occur during my recruitment. So that kind of, made Virginia Tech an easy choice, But, Coach Beamer was in Blacksburg and, of course, Bud Foster, the great defensive coordinator, man. He's an awesome guy, even a better person than he is a coach, on and off the field. But, the main thing was, I was close to home, 4 hours, and I could play great defense. So Virginia Tech was definitely an easy choice when it came down to that.
Yeah, of course. And you played with the Edmonds brothers as well as Adonis Alexander, just a few guys that you played with on that defense throughout your career. What was it like to play next to those guys and see them, transition to the NFL?
Yeah, playing with those two guys, the two Edmond brothers and Adonis, those guys last year, I personally believe last year was probably the best defense we had, in a while. Just being around them, and going to work every day and just, competing and just, everyone just wanted the same goal, is just to win and to be a lockdown defense, man. Just living, just coming to work every day at practice and listening to Coach Foster and everyone just wanted to be great, and I think that rubbed off on each other, on defense, but also on the team. And, I think that's why we had a pretty solid year last year.
Yeah, definitely. And, you've obviously probably have a ton of memories from playing college football, but is there any one memory that stands out to you the most?
Oh, yeah. I have a few, but I think the one I'm always remember is last year I scored my first touchdown on the scoop and score against North Carolina. So the big man got in the end zone, man. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and what do you do in that situation? What's going through your mind? Since obviously, like you said, you scored your first touchdown.
Right. I didn't know what to do. Like if you turn the film on, you could tell I didn't know how to celebrate. I didn't know what to do. It's my first time ever in the end zone. I actually thought it was incomplete, but we're taught to pick up all loose balls and just and scoop and score. And next thing you know, the referees put his hands up, and then I was just excited. So that was awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. Obviously, that's a memory you'll probably remember for the rest of your life. But I want to ask, playing at Virginia Tech, you obviously saw some top-notch competition, not only in practice, we mentioned, the guys that you played with, but you also saw, very tough opponents just all over the college realm. So I want to know, who's the toughest you faced, in college, and it can be anybody just throughout your college career.
The toughest player will probably be out of my career. Offensive line-wise, the best player I played against would be Quentin Nelson. We played against them 2-3 years ago. Notre Dame. He was a pretty good guy. As you can tell, he went top 5 in the draft.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah. Quentin Nelson was pretty much overall a really good player. We played against Ohio State. We played against Ezekiel Elliott. He was pretty good. So I'll say those two are pretty much the best overall players I played against.
Yeah, definitely two great picks for sure. Very tough guys I can imagine to have to line up against. And you're a player of many strengths, but in your opinion, what is your biggest strength as a player?
My quickness, my twitch, my football IQ, and just my leadership and my hard work. I make people around me better by just, not saying much, but just leading by example. But, I feel like, but I definitely feel like, I have a pretty good twitch and, penetration and just playing hard. I think that's key, as a factor for playing defensive line. And, I think those things definitely helped me throughout my college career.
Yeah, 100%. And I just want to, ask you, as a defensive lineman in this draft, what do you bring that no other defensive lineman in this draft brings to the table?
Oh man, just someone who's hungry, humble, committed. Someone who is looked as an underdog and just wants to prove everybody wrong. Someone who's going to come to work every day, and someone who is going to give 110% every day, on and off the field. So, like I said, I might not be the biggest guy, but if you turn the film on, I'm a pretty tough guy on the field.
Yeah, and this is just a fun question we like to ask defensive guys who come on the show. But who is the quarterback that you'd most like to sack in the NFL?
Man, I have to say Tom Brady. Tom Brady is just someone who always wins, and he's a great player. He always beats my Steelers, man. So even though I have a little hate there, man, but if I get a chance to get Tom Brady, that's definitely going to be awesome.
Yeah, right now, obviously being a Rams podcast, I think that hate that you mentioned, a lot of the Rams listeners are definitely having that. But
definitely.
But with that being said, we are a Rams podcast, so I have to ask you: have the Los Angeles Rams met or spoken with you at all throughout this draft process?
Yes, they actually called me last week, and they talked to me. They made sure my phone number was correct. They said they liked my film and all of that, and they showed that they're very interested. And that would be awesome. Because my role model is Aaron Donald. I actually met him on a recruiting visit at Pitt when he was at Pitt. It was awesome, man. I got to just be around him and see how he is. He told me little things about the game, and just to see his success, what he's doing now. It's awesome, man. You know, just someone I look up to, and definitely, you know, would be an honor to play next to him or be in the same locker room. So that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we certainly love to hear that there's been contact between you and the Rams because, you know, we're fans of you and love watching you play and would love to watch you play for the Rams. But, you know, even if you don't end up on the Rams, we're going to be fans of you no matter where you go and be cheering you on for sure.
Thank
but,
you.
know,
Appreciate that.
Of course. And just to wrap it up in your own words, who is Ricky Walker as a person and who is he as a player?
Ricky Walker as a person is, you know, a kind, respectful gentleman. You know, there's someone who's very, very humble and just, you know, wants the best for everyone around them and not just me. You know, someone who's, you know, always is looking to help and give out, you know, a helping hand, and just someone who's very, very loving and caring. And you know, Ricky Walker as a football player can definitely turn on that switch. You know, whenever I have to, you know. Whenever it's time to go get a sack or make a third down stop, you know, you can definitely count on him. You know, so I would say those are definitely the traits for my character.
Yeah, it sounds like any team would be lucky to have you. Obviously, we hope the Rams are interested, you know, for sure, and you know, make you a Ram. But you know, regardless of which team you go to, we're going to be fans. We're going to be rooting for you. So you know, you stay healthy. Good luck for the draft, and let's keep in touch, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, have a good one, Ricky.
Thank you. You too.
All right, guys, joining the podcast, we have Memphis linebacker Curtis Akins. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me on the show, man.
Of course. We're so excited to talk to you. And just to start this thing off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
I started, actually, how I started football, my sister ran track for our high school team. And it was one day I went to a track practice, and the head coach of the track team said, you need to be at football practice tomorrow. So I actually wasn't like, I thought he was just playing. So the next day he came all the way to my house and said, go put your clothes on. I told you to come to practice, and I've been playing football ever
since. That's cool. You know, obviously it's cool that you picked up football, and obviously you're definitely a prospect that people are keeping an eye on in the NFL draft. But, you know, I want to ask, you know, growing up, who was your favorite NFL player?
I actually had two who I used to watch. It was Ray Lewis and Patrick Willis from Baltimore and the 49ers.
Yeah, those are definitely fun guys to watch for sure. And, you know, you grew up playing football, and then when it came time for you to play in college, you ultimately chose Memphis. What was the main factor for you in choosing them?
It was just like the staff and like the coaches, like, you know how when you're going through the recruiting process, like from high school to college, all the coaches tell you, oh yeah, you're going to come straight in, start. Well, Memphis, they didn't tell me that. Like you come in, work your butt off, we will put you on the field. But it's like when you come here, ain't nothing would be handed to you. And I like their staff there since then.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And obviously at Memphis, I'm sure, you know, you played in some, you know, fantastic games that, you know, really come to your mind, and you obviously made a bunch of plays. But, you know, what was your favorite memory looking back at your Memphis football career?
I'd probably say the 2018 season, probably because, like, when I first came in Memphis, you know, it was on a rebuilding process. So from 2014, like, on up until now, it was great. So the best experience probably was when we played UCLA or when we had played Ole Miss.
Yeah, and, you know, you played against a lot of tough competition while you were at Memphis. Is there any one guy who stands out to you as being the toughest guy that you went up against?
I actually think that one of the toughest guys I went up against, he in the draft right now, they got him like the second or third running back, David Montgomery from Iowa State. He probably the toughest player like I done played against. Yeah,
and I'm sure, obviously, you know, your teammate, you know, Daryl, I mean, I think he's the best running back in the class, if you want my honest opinion. So I'm sure he wasn't fun in practice.
Oh, yeah, him him and Tony Pollard actually elevated my game as well as Anthony Miller at practice. Like, them guys gonna make you gonna get the best out of you. So one thing about Darrell Henderson and Tony Pollard, like when we went at practice, I had to tackle them on the line of scrimmage. Like if nobody's like tackling them on the line of scrimmage, you're not going to tackle them. Like, cause they get in front of you with a touchdown.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Tony as well because I was at the Senior Bowl and I swear that kid was a blur. Like he's like he shot out of a cannon almost. But what were you saying?
Yeah, Tony's very explosive. Like Tony's like he a tradition. Like Tony can play any position on the field, whether it's cornerback, safety, running back, receiver. He a straight athlete.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, he definitely, made something happen during the Senior Bowl. He definitely stood out. But, I want to get your thoughts on, how your pro day was. Because, we talk about Tony, we talk about Darrell. Obviously you guys had a nice class coming into this NFL draft. And, you mentioned last year, of course, Anthony Miller, one of the top receivers in last year's draft as well. So, this year, kind of like a last send-off. You guys all get to compete again on the same field together. What was that like, and how do you feel you did?
It was a great experience, like, for all of us coming together again and performing in front of NFL scouts and coaches. But, like, overall, my day went good. Like, my 40, I ran between 4.46 and 4.51 or something like that. Bench press, I did 26 times at 225. My vertical jump, I jumped I want to say it was a 34 or 35. And like my position drill, it was smooth. So overall, I think I had a very productive day.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, this next question, there might not even be an answer to, but there might be a couple answers to. But is there anyone that you've modeled your game after, or anyone whose game you've watched and tried to incorporate things that they do into your own?
No. When I watch film, I actually watch film like on myself and see like what can I do to make my own game better.
Yeah, that's definitely important. But kind of a question we've been asking, different guys that have come on, per their position. We want to know, what do you bring to the table that no linebacker in this draft brings?
Characteristics, instincts. Number one thing I feel like I bring most definitely what every team needs is accountability. Like most teams, like even like college, even you look at some guys in NFL, like guys on the team don't hold each other accountable. And like I feel like from me coming over to college and doing it like Coach Norvell way, he bombed a whole lot of like knowledge into us, and I think it's gonna carry over like in life, not only just football but in life in general.
Yeah, and as the draft approaches, is there anything that you're looking to improve on?
Overall, I feel like I just saying like it's always room for for improvement like in every aspect of the game. So if you ever talk to somebody and they say like they game don't need improvement, I feel like they lying.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way to put it. So now, kind of a fun question here. Which quarterback in the NFL would you most want to sack?
You said would I do what?
Which quarterback in the NFL would you most want to sack?
Tom Brady.
Popular answer.
The GOAT. Yeah, the GOAT. Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's I'd say that's 99% of the time. That's the answer we get because, like you said, he's the GOAT and, everyone wants a chance to say that they sacked him. So good answer for sure. And, we are a Los Angeles Rams-based podcast, so we ask every prospect that comes on our show, have you met or talked with the Los Angeles Rams yet?
They was at our pro day.
That's awesome. We like to hear that because we are, fans of you and fans of the Rams. So we think it'd be awesome if you ended up on the Rams. But no matter where you go, we're going to be fans of you and be cheering you on and watching you for sure. But just to wrap it up, in your own words, Who is Curtis Akins as a player, and who is he as a person?
As a player, I feel like you're gonna get everything out of me 110%. Like, I feel like if you're not dying, like, you're gonna get my best. Like, if somebody, like a coach or somebody, asks me a question or something, if I don't know the answer, I would tell them I don't know the answer. But I can tell you by the end of the day, I will have the answer. And as far as me as a person, I'm a family man. You know, I have a 6-month-old son. So when I'm not, like, on the field, I just spend all my time with my son.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And, you know, congratulations, obviously, on your son. I believe that happened during one of your games. So incredible moment for you. And that's just fantastic, man. You know, awesome for you. And, you know, wish you the best of luck. And, you know, obviously, you know, we'll definitely be rooting for you no matter which team you go to. And, you know, Curtis, let's keep in touch, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys calling me.
Of course. Have a good one, Curtis.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate y'all.
All right, guys. Joining us on the show, we have Boise State linebacker Jabril Frazier. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Oh, yeah. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and, you know, just to start this off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
Oh, yeah. I started playing football when I was around 8. And then I wasn't really that good. I was kind of short and stabby and not really that good. I played online, so I didn't really like football. So I stopped playing football, and then I started again when I was in middle school. And then once I got to high school, I thought I was, like, really good at it. And then that took me to college and had a good college career, and that's where I'm at today.
That's awesome, man. I just kind of want to, you know, get your, if there is one, who was your favorite NFL player growing up?
Ooh, favorite NFL player growing up. The crazy thing is, like, I didn't really like football. I mean, like I said, I didn't really like football that much, so I didn't really watch NFL football till, like, I got to, like, high school. And in high school, I think it was probably Anthony Barr. I remember him at UCLA, and I mean that's all I talked about in high school. Was I want to be like Anthony Barr. And I think I looked up to him a lot. And now seeing him in the NFL and doing the same thing he did at UCLA is big time.
Yeah, and you know, you played football, and it came time for you to pick a school to play out in college, and you ended up playing at Boise State. What was your main factor for choosing them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, when I took my official visit to Boise State, I mean, it was nothing that I didn't like about the school and the town, and, just playing football for a college town, and, you walk around and everybody knows you. And, the coaching staff, that was probably the biggest thing, is that our coaching staff was, like family. And I knew what the defensive coordinator at the time, him and my dad grew up, so it was, perfect timing, and I thought it was the best fit for me.
Yeah, and, going to Boise State, I mean, what was your favorite moment or, memory that you have from, college?
Yeah, it's just playing on the blue. It's nothing like playing on the blue. Friday night, Saturday night, we got all the fans. The town is closed for us, and, it's just big. Just playing on the blue with we call it brothers at Boise State, because we're so close to each other. And, that's all we teach is family. Just like I said, just playing on the blue is, I'm gonna miss those days.
Yeah, and you went up against a lot of tough competition while you played for Boise State. Is there any player who stands out to you as being the toughest guy you had to play against in college?
Yes, I think it was Andre, the tackle from Washington State. Probably was the best person we went against. I mean, there's a lot of good guys, but I think he stood out the most, especially with their offense, how they get the ball out so much. And I feel like they always have a good offensive line.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I want to ask you, how was your pro day?
My pro day was good. I didn't run my 40.
hamstring. But, I mean, everything else was good. My position drills, my bench, the jumps, and things like that. I wish I could have ran my 40, but, I mean, at the end of the day, film don't lie. So I feel like I'm still in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. And, is there any one player, you mentioned Anthony Barr earlier, but is there any player that you've modeled your game after?
Yeah, I mean, everybody says Von Miller. I mean, who doesn't want to be like Von Miller? The things he do on the field. But, yeah, Von Miller, especially DeMarcus Lawrence, just him being from Boise State and me being close with him. I definitely try to model my game after him. Just that he plays defense and I play outside linebacker, so I do things a little different, like drop back in coverage and things like that. But mostly, those type of guys can little match, but mostly DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, and, talking about all, edge defenders, what do you bring to the table that no other edge defender in this draft brings?
I think it's my versatility. I go back and, look at my film and, I've dropped in coverage way more this year than I've done my whole career. I feel like that's probably why my numbers were, low in the sacks and things like that. Just, I showed that, I can drop, on the field, drop a hook, play man-to-man and things like that. And I feel that's what separates me from a lot of the other edge guys is that, most of the time they just went forward and, went to go get the quarterback. And I was dropping guys in coverage and, guarding guys one-on-one. But I mean, I feel like I bring that to the table, and then I can also, rush the passes. And I also feel I play good in the run game.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you consider your biggest strength as a player to be?
I think it's, rushing the passer.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. What is one area in your game that you're trying to improve on, coming into the next level?
Yeah, that's one area I think is, just using my hands better, It's all about at the next level, it's, technique. Everybody's good now, so, what's going to set you apart from, other people? I mean, going against other talent, I feel like that's one thing I've been working on is, doing a lot of boxing and stuff like that. It's just, working my hands more and, being more active with my hands.
Yeah, and, this next question is just kind of a fun question that we like to ask defensive guys who come on the show. But what quarterback would you most want to sack in the NFL?
Probably Tom Brady.
Yeah, we definitely get Tom Brady a lot.
Yeah, definitely Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, deservedly so. With that being said, we are a Los Angeles Rams based podcast, so I have to ask, have the Rams met or spoken with you at all throughout this process? And if so, where and when?
No, I haven't touched the Rams, but I did hear that they went up to my high school and did a background check. Because I'm from L.A.
Oh, wow. And
yeah,
so...
I went to school at Bourbon Day, so it's right down the street.
That's awesome. So in regards to that, have you had any local pro days or local workouts or anything like that with anybody?
No, I haven't.
Because I think that comes right before the draft or whatever. Because I know you would be eligible since it's based on just living there. It's not necessarily where you went to school, but if you you actually have residency there. So that's always pretty cool to have that. But yeah, and then I also wanted to ask you a quick question because I totally forgot to ask you earlier. You played at Boise State, and honestly, I'm a huge fan of your signal caller over there, who's also entering the NFL draft in Brett Ripien. But I want to get your thoughts on what it was like to play with him, and what do you feel like he would bring to the next level?
Yeah, so Brett Ripien is actually one of my best friends. We were roommates for 4 years, so I know the real Brett Ripien, but we won't get into that. But I mean, he's the best guy ever, and just him being on the team, him being a leader, us both being captains, it was. I learned a lot from that guy, just, learning from him, seeing how he lead and, us having meetings to talk about how we're going to lead the team and things like that. And, just him on the field, his film really talks for itself. The things that he do in the pocket things he do, under pressure and things like that is just, it's just amazing how he can do it, And I mean, he's the most humble guy ever. And it's the quarterback that you want,
Yeah, absolutely. That's, cool to hear that about him. And, I'm sure, as you said, you guys were roommates. I'm sure you guys will be friends for life. So that's awesome. And, just to wrap it up, in your own words, who is Jabril Frazier as a player and who is he as a person?
Yeah, so as a player, he's a guy that's going to be relentless and, do whatever to, make the team, win and things like that. And, he's going to work hard, blue collar mentality that we learned at Boise State. And, as a person, laid back, always want to, just stay to himself and be always ready to work and, get better each and every day.
Yeah, man. I absolutely, I love that. I love that, what you got to, what you said about what Brett, because I think it says a lot about, you also as some, because it's just, obviously he's your friend, but it, to think that highly of your quarterback, I mean, that's huge. Obviously you guys won a lot of football games. You had, I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan, so you guys had Montez Cosart there. He was somebody I watched at KU and rooted for him as well at Boise State. And, you guys have had, so many different guys, Alexander, of course. So it's cool that, the guys that you're entering this league with. I think, your class is going to be, it's going to be fun to watch for sure. We really appreciate you coming on. We've had a lot of fun interviewing you and, stay healthy, man, and let's keep in touch.
Yep. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Have a good one, Jabril.
Okay. Bye-bye.